Hi! Welcome to this part of my review featuring the Fading Suns universe book. If you haven't seen the other parts of my review featuring this sci-fi passion play, please check out the playlist in the description below. This time we are going to talk about the major guilds and the minor guilds as well. Let's start with the major guilds. We have the Charioteers. The Charioteers hold the most prominent position among the guilds, because they control the paths to the stars. Most people who want passage on a ship must go through the Charioteers, or Travelers Guild, as they are also called. They own most of the jump routes and maps, and woe be to those who muscle in on their territory. Most common merchants are members of this guild or its subsidiaries. They are the most well-known traders, and their traveling medicine shows and bazaars are a popular seasonal feature on many worlds. Most customers are also unaware of the giant hunks that not only run the guild, but also control the seats of its governing board. The leadership of the guild is perhaps the most active in the known worlds. Even its oldest deans continue to cruise the trade routes, buying low and selling high. People friendly with the Charioteers can buy almost anything from them, and its guild members have access to one of the greatest information networks in existence, allowing them to sell knowledge as well as goods. Some nobles seem to believe that the Charioteers support the creation of the Third Republic and are secretly building it. While no evidence has yet been uncovered, merchants of the Charioteers are often watched carefully. Concerning monopolies, the most prominent Charioteer monopoly is that of jump keys and the routes that come with them. Even the church generally accepts this, giving the Charioteers control over their pilgrim routes, so long as sanctioned priests lead the pilgrims themselves. Most of the other Charioteer monopolies have a geographic limit. Individual merchants enforce their claims over energy weapons in a city, luxury wines on a continent, or even rare off-world herbs for an entire planet. Leading the Charioteers, we have people such as Dodge Zale Galebreath. He has run the guild since shortly before the end of the Emperor Wars. His enforcement of guild monopolies has earned loyalty from Charioteers despite persistent rumors that he advocates republican ideals. There's also Consul Chris Chartash, which may be the greatest beneficiary of Galebreath's policies, and her armada of trading vessels visits most of the known worlds on a regular basis. Concerning primary territories, the Charioteers do not own any worlds, preferring instead the routes between them. However, every planet in the known worlds hosts a guild hall, though their facilities and services vary. The Charioteers' presence on Ligheim is significant. The jump key factories are some of the most protected facilities on the planet, and the Hung campuses boast luxuries from across the known worlds, and more than a few lost ones. Less well known are the Charioteers' hidden bases on otherwise lifeless planets throughout the known worlds. Small listening posts serve their intelligence gathering, supply bases help damaged ships, and hidden docks equipped with rescue spaceships that are not capable of making jumps but can save a Charioteer's life. Charioteers could be pilots or vehicle operators of any type: merchants, smugglers, pirate hunters, archaeologists, artifact dealers, explorers, and many other things. Then we have the Supreme Order of Engineers. High technology is at a premium in the known worlds, for those who understand it are few. Many of them are members of this guild. When a starship needs to be constructed or repaired, when a personal shield has burned out and needs fixing, or when an arm has been blown off and needs replacing, an engineer is the only one to summon. This is one of the least known guilds, for it makes no effort to sell products to the peasantry. Instead, it has concentrated its efforts on developing new technologies and ensuring that no one else makes the same discoveries. Its hidden labs and concealed factories have churned out extraordinary innovations in cybernetics, genetic engineering, explosives, space flight, medicine, and other areas. For this reason, many refuse to deal with the engineers, or at least that's what they say. Others note that the engineers appear to be their own best customers, and most find that extremely unnerving. An additionally upsetting aspect of the Supreme Order of Engineers is its connection to the Church. No one, either in the Church or in the Order, will deny that almost 1,000 years ago, the engineers were once either a holy order or part of a holy order. Their worries are heightened by the fact that the Supreme Order of Engineers is also one of the most secretive guilds. Getting information from the engineers is next to impossible, and even other League members find it difficult to communicate with them. Concerning monopolies, no guild holds as many monopolies as the engineers. They hold claims to important categories like terraforming, machine maintenance, and new starship engines. They also claim important components and techniques involved in such critical areas as longevity serums, think machines, flux swords, and much more. Leading the engineers, we find people such as Malefice Hereditus, who has not been seen by non-engineers in years. While likely the oldest guild leader in the League, when last seen, he was more human than machine. He is thought to have become even more inhuman. Quite different is his old friend, engineer Wavefinder Lucetta. Despite her age, she is generally considered one of the most beautiful people in the known worlds, if unnaturally so. However, her skill with think machines is better known than her beauty. Concerning primary territories, the engineers rarely have ostentatious dwellings or facilities. They often prefer rural or neglected areas abandoned by the previous owners. Due to the danger of these facilities, both perceived and real, other factions encourage this. While the facilities might not be much to look at, often the best parts are far from prying eyes. These often go far underground, especially when involved with terraforming. Engineers might be inventors, scientists of all types, repairmen, weaponsmiths, crafters, starship engineers, and many other things. Then we have the muster. While most guilds make their money from selling goods and services, the chainers make theirs of living beings. Their ships ferry mercenaries, technicians, animals, foodstuffs, and some say slaves to their many customers. The muster is the free person's labor guild, providing trained but union-regulated labor for free persons to various contractors. Since skilled and trained talent is not easy to find since the fall, if you want a job done right, you must go through the muster. In the centuries since the fall, it became the union for all laborers. The only rights sacred to them are those of guild members. Only free persons can apply. It is one of the hardest guilds in which to gain membership, because members, that is skilled labor, get good benefits and security for the rest of their lives. For most muster contracts, the workforce is made up of temps hired by the guild, while the sweet managerial positions go to specific muster members. Chainers are well known among the peasantry for kidnapping people on small worlds and shipping them off far away, where they'll never be recognized. The muster has had to move carefully since the opening of Boldrock space. For centuries, the muster made good coin battling the barbarians. The Boldrock now provide fierce warriors to compete with the muster, but the muster must be careful to fight only the right Boldrock, those resisting imperial rule. Muster guilders tend to wear armor and armor-like clothing, and most carry weapons wherever they go. Concerning monopolies, skills lie at the heart of the muster monopoly, and they guard these specializations with jealousy. Any serf can slap together mortar and build a brick wall, but only a muster mason can use special sealants and tools, cut custom bricks, and, in some places, even erect scaffolding over the maximum or local legal height. Where the muster does not have a monopoly, but wishes it did, is in mercenaries. The royal houses have never agreed to hire sellswords from only one sword. Since the end of the Emperor Wars, the number of non-muster mercenaries has only increased. The muster also has a monopoly on a number of tools of their members' trades. Muster chains are the most obvious example of this, but many of the advanced tools used in construction, agriculture, and elsewhere are muster exclusives. Leading the muster we have people such as General Janissary Halostro Sekimen, who spent decades battling the symbiotes on Stigmata and elsewhere, bringing in a healthy stream of firebirds, initially from grateful regents and later from Alexius himself. There's also Consul Teresa Solas, who will likely never get a higher rank in the guild. Even the most hardened mercenary trembles in his boots at the rumors of her cruelty, as the alleged head of the guild's slave operations. Concerning primary territories, while the muster has official and unofficial offices on most planets and in many big cities, Bannockburn houses its main military centers. The muster includes professional mercenaries, ex-soldiers looking for work, freelance jack-of-all-trades, artifact hunters, adventurers for hire, to name a few. Then we have the Reeves, or the Grey Faces. The Reeves hold the reins of commerce and economy. They are the known world's bankers. They also govern higher learning and education, producing lawyers and philosophers. The Reeves also provide some of the most talented advocates for helping decide important matters. Church except no one else. Nobles caught up in disputes with one another are happy to have a Reeve hear their disagreement, but typically they would prefer having one on their side, primarily for their incredible extensive money-lending operations. Of course, money is not the only thing Reeves demand in exchange for their loans. They have been known to delay or even cancel required payments, but then get the debtor to do certain favors for them. With the rise of the Pax Alexius, the Reeves would seem to be in the strongest position of any guild. Even the guild's advisory position is threatened by peace, where once the Reeves' rare combination of education, connections, and influence was unparalleled, now other groups can create the same networks. Publicly, the Reeve leaders appear to be the most conservative of the League leaders, but more than one has gotten into trouble with the various sects for acts considered extremely unorthodox. By the same token, the Reeves have gone to great lengths to suppress stories that would cast doubt on their legitimacy. The Reeve fleet remains an object of fear. Stronger than that of any minor house, it is second only to that of the charioteers within the League. Concerning monopolies, the ability to charge interest on lending remains the guild's most important exclusive. Other groups give loans and advances, but the guild is the only one that can charge interest directly on the loan. The Reeves also control the League Bank, easily the largest in the known worlds. They make money not just on loans, but also on the deposits. One area that many do not associate with the Reeves is modern media. Here the Reeves hide behind others, relying on small guilds to craft the magic lantern shows they fund and help distribute. Those guilds risk church and noble ire, while the Reeves sell advertising to other guilds. Leading the Reeves we have people such as Dean Derek Luden, an assistant to Senior Dean Melissa Winters, easily ranking among the 100 richest people in the known worlds. His role overseeing the star-spanning banking operation Winters built gives him the chance to become richer still. There's also Consul Maya Minamoto, with long association with Leaguemeister Oliver Lords. It has propelled her rapidly through the guild's ranks. Undeniably ambitious, she has ties to most of the leading Reeves, including Loden and the Winters family. When it comes to primary territories, the most obvious Reeve territories are their heavily guarded bank branches, spread throughout the known worlds. While the Reeves do not own large tracts of land outright, they do have investments on millions of acres. The Reeve estates on Ligheim, however, are extensive. Here the guild is happy to foreclose when a customer can no longer pay up. The Reeves are usually wealthy adventurers, opportunists, lawgivers, stand-up philosophers, gentry wannabes, loan enforcers, and many other things. We also have the Scravers. Scravers hide behind a veneer of respectability in the form of a scavengers guild. They make their mark by recovering and refitting derelict spacecraft, by patching together Second Republic artifacts everyone else deemed beyond redemption, and by finding artifacts where no one thought any could be. Anything the charioteers or engineers can't sell legitimately somehow ends up in the scrapers' hands and passes through their vast network with no questions asked. They tend to hide behind the cover of various sub-guilds and are master spies. They have dirt on just about every major political figure imaginable, and they are ready to use it if nobles, priests, or anyone else tries to squash them. Most citizens really don't link these scavengers to organized crime, since high-profile crime trials have cleared the Scavengers Guild of wrongdoing. Scrapers also have strong investments in gambling facilities, and some of their largest rehabilitated ships have become their interstellar casinos. The Scrapers are made up of many small local groups paying fealty to deans, but each claims a lot of autonomy. However, the region where they have the least influence offers them the most opportunity. Hargard and the rest of Boldrug space are virgin territory for their reclamation activities, as well as their less seemly endeavors. Concerning monopolies, the Scrapers do not like to confess to the industry it dominates, catering to humanity's basest instincts. Of course, its members do not confess to much of anything. They hold few interstellar patents, and what is illegal in one fifth might be widely accepted in another. Gambling is the one area that transcends geography. In space, the Scrapers have several casinos, either on space stations or as their own ships. Concerning the leadership within the Scrapers, we have people such as Leaguemeister Oliver Lords, who comes from the guild's reclamation side, specializing in uncovering and carefully excavating ancient military installations. There's also Mater Venita the Fox Ivankov, who started as a gunner on the starship Potemkin's Vengeance. Now the ship serves as her headquarters for running the entire guild. When it comes to primary territories, the Scrapers control a lot of territory, but they generally do it through intermediaries, frontmen, and shell guilds. Their interstellar casinos are the height of luxury, providing enough opulence to attract even the richest Al-Malik and the Kados. Scrapers might be smugglers, archaeologists, gangsters, Robin Hood type of Avengers, scavengers, assassins, to name a few. We also have details on the minor guilds. Nobody knows just how many guilds exist throughout the known worlds. At least 200 are part of the League, and many more have no official sanction. Some of these guilds include the Apothecaries. The Apothecaries Guild collects and hoards all the lore it can find on any claims, real or delusional, for healing medicines and practices. From patent medicines to cybernetic implants, apothecaries believe they can handle it. We also have the Carnivalers, carnies, clowns, tumblers, gladiators, and more. Carnivaler troops travel the known worlds, with their outlandish vehicles and more outlandish members. Performers and pranksters, entertainers and executioners, they amuse and unnerve the known worlds. We also have the courtesans. Courtesans don't deal in just the pleasures of the flesh, though they certainly excel at that. They also know the art of making their employers look good, while working as professional hangers-on in an entourage. These specialists work as advisors, though few nobles would admit to taking their advice, and as symbols of social status. We also have the Slayers. When someone needs to die, the Slayers are the guild to hire. Expert assassins, well-connected and willing to carry out a job no matter the foe. The Slayer's reputation inspires fear and envy. And these are just some of the minor guilds. This concludes this part of the review. In the next part we are going to talk about the other estates. It's really impressive how all of the guilds have become indispensable, essential for the operations of the nobility and the clergy. If you need something practical or mundane, you have to go through these guilds. So it is quite similar to certain organizations in real life. However, because of that, those organizations, and in the case of this fictional context, those guilds are always at risk of being taken down by those that do not want them to be necessary. Thank you for watching this part of the review. If you have any comments or questions, please let me know. And thank you so much to those of you that have been supporting the channel by sending right through RPG gift certificates. If anyone else wants to further support the channel, the information on how to do that will be in the description below. Once again, thank you, and see you later.